Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Jamel Hartman here. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Please do not forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day. We've got, well, you saw him election night with us, but he's here for the National Museum of Bermuda today. Let's give a warm TDH welcome to Rajai. Raj. Raj, how are you, sir?
I'm all right. I am a little tired. But I'm okay. We're here and everything's great.
I'm just so glad that we didn't do this show the day after the election because, I mean, would have had like an hour's sleep, huh?
Yeah, that would have been disastrous. That would have been setting everybody up for failure. So, and you didn't do that.
We don't want to do that. And failure, it's not possible for Rajai to fail on anything. But anyway, I'm going to leave that alone. But Raj, man, it's good to have you, man. It's good to have you. As your big fan Suzanne said earlier, she misses you. So hopefully
Appreciate
you don't. Yeah, she does. Somebody's got to do it, Raj. But speak to the audience about your role with the National Museum of Bermuda and just explain, what it is, because some people may remember it as the Maritime Museum, right?
Yeah. So the museum became the National Museum of Bermuda back in 2002. So it was founded as the Maritime Museum back in 1974. And this museum has over 80,000 objects in its collection that showcase Bermuda history and our heritage, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So I have the incredible privilege and good fortune to be the new learning and engagement officer here at the museum. So I am smack dab, I am at the nexus of all of their education programming. So my role is to devise, develop, and deliver all of their education programs, formal and informal, that touch so that engaging with Bermuda history is a part of everyone's lifelong journey. So not just when you're a student in school, our adult learning programs as well. So we have our teacher professional development program, which has been a hit. And I don't want to, not to go off left to center too quick, but yeah, there's lots of little bits.
And audience, I just want to ask, because I've asked this before, audience, let us know, have you been to the National Museum of Bermuda? Yes or no? And if you've been, have you been in the last 5 years? Raj, I don't think people necessarily, for myself, I would go regularly because I would take tourists there when I was working in the Bermuda tourism space. But why is a space like the National Museum of Bermuda necessary?
I mean, any sort of developed jurisdiction with any sort of history has some sort of public institution that is responsible for preserving that history and engaging with that history. And those are usually museums. So a place like Bermuda, with its extremely rich, complex, and nuanced history, definitely needs an institution like the National Museum. And the National Museum is actually legislated. It's our legislated national museum. Bermuda history is extremely complex and extremely nuanced. Mm-hmm. And this museum captures that in such a beautiful way, but not only captures it, but engages with it as well. The amount of information that exists up here that's just on display, and then the wealth of information that the staff here has, and that's in our preserved objects, in our programs, and in the ways that we help people to access Bermuda history, but like with our Atlantic World Lecture Series. Museums are extremely, extremely, extremely important and essential institutions in any country. And I am very happy to say that I'm working at a place where they get it right. They get it extremely right.
I liken it, and I don't know if anyone in the audience has been to the National Museum for Black History in Washington, D.C. And the way that works is you start deep down, bottom downstairs in the 1600s, and you work your way up to the 2000s, each floor. To me, this is just as important, this space. It gives you a story and an understanding of, things that a lot of people without going just would not know, because most of that stuff I was not taught or told in, education. I don't know what education is like now, like the schools, but you started talking about it earlier, Rajai, but go in depth. Just tell people about the various things offer at the National Museum of Bermuda?
Yeah, so I mean, the National Museum sits in the Keep Yard. It's Bermuda's biggest fort. And it also includes casemates. They gained casemates gained responsibility for casemates back in 2013. So just infrastructurally, it's an incredible place. It's a 16-acre property, and then you have Commissioner's House, of course, right up on the hill, and the old munitions buildings down in the Keep Yard. So that's the Queen Exhibitions Hall and the boat loft. There's Dolphin Quest is on property. But you have three distinct buildings. In the Queen's Exhibition Hall, that showcases artifacts and objects from the various wrecks around the island, and it's fascinating. As soon as you walk in, there is a case for the Sea Venture. So we have artifacts right from the Sea Venture wreck. So to see those right in person behind the glass is extremely profound. I know one day I was down there, and they have cowrie shells. If you know, cowrie shells were a former currency in West Africa, and they are like a direct evidence of Europe's involvement. Well, sorry, Europe's, what's a better word for that? Not their involvement. Europe's responsibility for the transatlantic slave trade. And you have cowrie shells from 1690 from one of our wrecks, the San Pedro. And when I first saw that one day, that was very visceral for me. You have gold bars down in there. The kids always like to see that. But up top at Commissioner's House, you have, as soon as you walk in at the front, on your immediate left, you have an exhibit for the transatlantic slave trade. On the right, you have slavery in Bermuda. We have the Azores room for our Azorean and Portuguese community. It tells their story, which is an incredible story. We have Bermuda's connection to the West Indies as well. Of course, we have the Hall of History, Graham Foster's incredible epic mural. It took him 3 years to do, that tells the story of Bermuda history in pictorial form and visual art. And we also have a rotating exhibition room, because the museum is really the museum is using art as an entry point to engage with history. So we have Stone on with artwork from John Gardiner. And that exhibit showcases the connection between Bermuda and Charleston, South Carolina, because in the 1700s, Bermuda stone was used to build not only houses, but the foundations of Charleston, South Carolina in the 1700s. And I mean, that's one small example of Bermuda's role in the Atlantic world. So here at the museum, remember, we're looking at Bermuda history. We're not just looking at it locally. We're looking at it in the context of the Atlantic region, because the Atlantic region has been shaped by Bermuda's involvement in some pretty seminal historical occurrences. So I can't even begin the amount that I've learned since starting to work here, getting to nerd out, not just with my education side, with the pedagogy, the theory of teaching and learning, which is where I like to hang out as a professional nerd. But my passions for equity, for justice, for understanding the present, I couldn't be working in a more perfect place in order to really delve into that passion and that curiosity.
Indeed.
I want everybody to be part of that.
No, it's amazing, Rajai. And we did have quite a few people that said no, they haven't been. Shonat Bell, WKD Lama. What would you say to those folks who haven't been? Like, what would you say to them?
Come on, let's go. Come to the museum. So you know what Frog and Onion is. We are right across from Frog and Onion. The big old gates looks like a castle. That's the entrance to the National Museum. And the museum is inside the keep, like I said, which is Bermuda's biggest fort. And it also includes casemates. And we're actually restoring casemates, doing really, really well, and turning it into a research center for Atlantic World Studies, an international research center for Atlantic World Studies. So that's really, really exciting. Yeah, come to the museum. We're free for February at the moment, so entrance is free thanks to our great friends at Butterfield Bank and Renaissance REIT. So for the entire month, we are free for local residents. And on this Sunday coming, we have Community Day, and I'll tell you a bit more about Community Day in a second.
Tell us about Community Day this Sunday. What time? Let's talk about it. You mentioned.
10 to 3. So we would have been free anyhow, but we're open 10. We would have been open anyhow. But on that day in particular, we want the community to come out and connect with this museum and enjoy this museum. So Community Day from 10 until 3, we're going to have all kinds of activities and talks going on. We're going to be shooting off the cannons at 12:15 and 1:15. Dolphin Quest is going to be giving demonstrations in the morning, and in the afternoon, they're going to have reduced prices for what they do. So we're going to have in the morning art activity from Shauna Hollis, an interactive communal art activity. We're going to have a talk from John Gardner, the artist for the Stone exhibit, and Mr. Larry Mills. He's an expert on Bermuda masonry and Bermuda architectural vernacular. We're going to have the St. David's Indigenous community come out and teach us about a Native American dance and perform one for us. Gumbays are going to be closing out the day. Bermuda's Love is going to be by to facilitate. Will Campbell from Bermuda's Love is going to be by to facilitate a conversation on war and conflict, because Bermuda's defense heritage is just as profound as any other part of its history. We are going to have vendors. Bermuda Cupcake Factory is going to be present. Ashley's Lemonade, the hot dog stand. I can't remember which one. Four Ways is providing free chili at lunch. Yeah, it's going to be a very busy, jam-packed day. Or we have another art activity in the afternoon with Jay Commodore. He's a very talented art teacher. Yeah, it's going to be a very jam-packed, very robust, rich day, and we hope as many people can come out to connect with their museum.
Thank you. That folks, Sunday, no excuse. Turn those no's into yeses if you're free, if you have time. We've got a question from the audience. We've got Renee Simmons asking, do you still host special events and weddings there?
You're darn right we do. You certainly do. Yeah, we're open for venue hire. We're available for venue hire. We have a ton of different venues here. So for weddings, parties, corporate events, corporate dinners. Yeah, so you can get in touch with our office, and if you want to receive our venue hire information, yeah, people are always up here. I mean, it's such a beautiful place to create memories and to hold events. So yeah, we're definitely available for that. Last year, the museum had its 50th anniversary party, which was very, very cool. And they were shooting off fireworks right in front of Commissioner's house where the party was. So yeah, if you want the museum to be a part of your memories, yeah, we are definitely open for that.
Okay. We've got an interesting question. Were they goats or sheep? But Sean Smith asking, yes, a very long time ago he visited. Do they still have the goats hanging out?
There's actually sheep. And no, the sheep are not here because they're being a nuisance.
Really?
They're getting stuck in gates and whatnot. So they have to be shipped out.
Okay, that used to be part of the experience. I remember seeing them up there. I actually have pictures of them around there eating the grass. I thought it was like keeping costs low, taking the grass and stuff. That's why I thought they were there. Yeah.
I think that was a happy consequence.
Audience, any more questions for Rajai? Raj, look, where can people go? Like, is there a website? Should they follow you on social media to learn more about what's going on and keep notified?
Yep, we're on all social media platforms. Pretty sure I know we're on Instagram. Pretty sure we're on Twitter, but I know we're on Instagram and Facebook. So go find us on there. Also visit nmb.bm to stay up to date with everything that we're doing. And we do have a teacher professional development coming up very, very soon, because one thing that we want to do, obviously we want Bermuda history to be a part of everybody's journey, but we want how people teach history and getting people to engage with history to be more impactful and meaningful. So we use lots of inquiry-based techniques, lots of primary source analysis, structured debate and discursive techniques, and but also infusing everything we do with some really rich Bermuda history. So on our website, you can see our teacher resource guides. The latest one is Freedom Narrative. So we know the written Mary Prince freedom narrative and how the abolitionists used that to help abolish slavery. One that we do not know about, which is not very commonly known, is the one by Benjamin Benson's narrative. So if you're really curious, because if you don't really have time to talk about it, just go Google Benjamin Benson. So you have Mary Prince's slave narrative that tells her story as being enslaved in Bermuda. You also have Benjamin Benson. His story is epic. When I tell you it's epic, it's between her, the United States. He ends up in Ireland. And I mean, I'm not doing it justice. I'm just Benjamin Benson. You have to go look it up. It's an incredible, incredible story. But we have a teacher professional development coming up on March the 8th
Mhm,
that delves into the freedom narrative story, but also gives our teachers new tools and solid teaching techniques
mhm.
to be able to use in their classrooms to enhance how it is they engage with and teach history.
Indeed. Thanks for that, Rajay. Diane Elliott says, I go to the museum every February, went last Monday, and she said, you also have you can be on your email list. So you have the email list, she said. But we did have another comment. Rashida Godwin said, every March I offer the anti-enslavement tour at the National Museum. That's important too. Do you work with other vendors and people in this space to ensure that people are are covering all bases?
Of course, definitely, definitely. The museum understands that first and foremost, we're a community organization, right?
Mhm.
And as you know, and even if you take out the cultural lens for a second, we are a third sector organization, and in order for third sector organizations to achieve their goals, you need to be collaborating with organizations in your community and persons who align with what you're doing. So, yeah, we definitely rely on our community partners in order to achieve our goals.
Indeed, indeed. We've got a question. Carl Otterbridge asking, when will the Casemate Museum open up?
Yeah, so Casemates is actually in the process of being restored right now, and it is incredible the amount of work that they've achieved over there. So Casemates is actually being turned into a research center for Atlantic World Studies. And so it is going to be not just a local research center, but an international research center that's going to enhance, the preservation and research work and archaeological work that the museum already does. I do not know if Casemates is going to be opened as an extension of the museum necessarily. I'm 95% sure that that's going to happen, but I can't say for sure. But I can say 100% for sure that it is being uh, not repurposed. I've used the word 5 times already. Me and my dyslexia, it's gone out of my head. But it's being restored, that's the word, as a research center for Atlantic World Studies.
All righty. Awesome, Raj. Awesome. I mean, I audience this Sunday, 10 to 3, right, Raj?
10 to 3 all day. You can come in the morning, leave at lunch, come at lunch, leave at the end of the day.
There you go. This is awesome. And I honestly I encourage anyone who has yet to experience it, just go. Like you will not regret it. It's gonna be, as Mia Chambray says over on Instagram, it's the most beautiful and informative museum. It's an awesome time. I trust me. I'm not just saying that because Roger is here. It is really, really one of Bermuda's best experiences. You don't even have to be a history buff. Like if you just want to go and experience something different, there's this thing in Raj, and you know it. But there are a lot of people that say there's nothing to do in Bermuda. Just up in that museum, you can make a weekend's worth of things to do if you take your time and just try to enjoy things. So I appreciate the work they're doing. I'm happy that they have someone like you on their team to so that people can actually get things done. So Raj, thanks so much. Keep in touch. Hope to see you up there next week. And all the best, my friend.
Thank you very much. Have a great day, everybody.
All right, Rajai Denbrook, folks, if you appreciated the conversation and information, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Too many of you tuned in not to love, like, and share. Make sure you do that. We will take our final break. We'll be back in 1 minute, 51 seconds. Do not go anywhere. Stick with us.